Ever wondered why learning the chemical elements and their abbreviations feels like trying to climb Mount Everest? Well, you're not alone. The periodic table of elements, home to a whopping 118 unique elements, can be a daunting mountain to climb. Each element, with its own unique name and abbreviation, forms an integral part of the vast world of chemistry. From hydrogen, the first element, to oganesson, the last known element, it's a journey through a labyrinth of scientific discovery. Understanding how to navigate this labyrinth can often feel overwhelming, like trying to memorize an alien language. But here's the thing. Every element has a story, a reason behind its name and abbreviation. It's not arbitrary, it's not chaos. So yes, it's a challenge. A challenge as tall as Everest. But fear not, with the right approach, you can master them all. Imagine the periodic table as a city map, with different neighborhoods representing different groups of elements. Just like how a city map is divided into different sections for easy navigation, the periodic table is divided into groups and periods. This arrangement isn't just for aesthetics, but serves a crucial purpose in understanding the elements and their properties. Let's start with the horizontal rows, shall we? These are known as periods. There are 7 periods in total, each representing the number of electron shells around the nucleus of the atoms in that row. The first period, at the very top, only has 2 elements, hydrogen and helium. This is because the first electron shell can only hold up to 2 electrons. As we move down the table, the periods get longer, reflecting the increasing number of electrons that the outer shell can hold. Now let's look at the vertical columns, which are called groups. There are 18 groups in the periodic table. The elements in each group have the same number of electrons in their outermost shell, which is why they share similar chemical properties. For example, Group 1, also known as the alkali metals, includes elements like lithium, sodium, and potassium. These elements are all highly reactive because they have just 1 electron in their outermost shell, which they are eager to give away in order to achieve a stable electron configuration. In addition, there are blocks within the table that group elements with similar properties. The F block, for instance, contains the lanthanides and actinides. These are often shown separately from the main table due to their unique properties and the sheer number of elements they contain. Understanding the layout of the periodic table is like getting to know the neighborhoods of a city. Each group and period is like a different neighborhood, each with its own unique character and charm. So, there you have it. The periodic table is not just an array of boxes with symbols and numbers. It's a well-organized city of elements, each with their own story and behavior. Knowing the neighborhoods of our city, the periodic table can make navigating much easier. Now, let's jump into some practical tips to remember the names of the chemical elements. Mnemonic devices. These are the secret sauce to memorize anything, and they work wonders when it comes to learning the names of the chemical elements. For those who are hearing about this for the first time, mnemonics are memory aids that use vivid imagery and organization to help you remember information. Let's take the first 10 elements, for instance: hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and neon. That's quite a mouthful, isn't it? But what if we turn it into a memorable sentence? Something like, Harry helped little Ben bake cookies nicely on Friday night. Each initial of the words in this sentence corresponds to the first letter of the 10 elements, making it easier for you to recall them. But wait, we've got elements with the same initial letters, don't we? Like hydrogen and helium or nitrogen and neon. Don't worry, there's a trick for that too. You can add an extra descriptive word that starts with the same letter as the second letter of the element. For example, Harry's hearty laugh, for hydrogen and helium. Flashcards. They are an age-old method, but they work like a charm. Write the name of the element on one side and its symbol on the other. Go through them whenever you have a spare moment. On the bus, waiting for a friend, or during commercial breaks. The more you see them, the more they'll stick. Repetition is the mother of learning, they say. So, repeat, repeat, repeat. Say the names out loud, write them down, type them out. Use the element names in your daily conversations. The more you use them, the more your brain will recognize them as important, and make sure they stay in your memory. Now here's a fun one. How about creating a song or a rhyme? Music has a way of sticking in our minds, doesn't it? How many times have you found yourself humming a tune you heard days ago? That's the power of music. So why not use it to remember the elements? You can use a popular tune and substitute the lyrics with the names of the elements. Or if you're feeling creative, you can come up with your own melody. Learning the names of the elements doesn't have to be a daunting task. It can be fun and engaging. Remember, the aim is not to memorize the entire periodic table in one sitting. Take it step by step, element by element. With these techniques, the names of the elements will stick in your mind like your favorite song. Ever puzzled over why gold is AU or lead is PB? These abbreviations aren't just random. The world of chemical elements is filled with such peculiarities, but there's a method to the madness. The abbreviations for many elements on the periodic table are derived from their Latin names. They're not just an arbitrary collection of letters, but a nod to the past when Latin was the universal language of science. It's like a secret code that scientists have been using for centuries. Take gold, for instance. Its chemical symbol is Au, which might seem strange if you're only familiar with its English name. But this abbreviation comes from its Latin name, aurum, which means shining dawn. Quite fitting for this precious metal, wouldn't you agree? Similarly, lead's chemical symbol, Pb, comes from its Latin name, plumbum. This is also where we get the word plumbing, as lead was widely used in ancient water pipes. Who knew that chemistry could be so deeply intertwined with etymology and history? Another interesting example is mercury, represented by the symbol Hg. This comes from the Latin hydrogyrum, which means water silver. This reflects the unique properties of mercury, a silvery liquid at room temperature, much like water. Iron, Fe, is another one, derived from its Latin name, ferrum. This is why we have words like ferrous and ferric in English, both of which relate to iron. And then there's silver, represented by Ag, from its Latin name, argentum. This is why Argentina, famous for its silver mines, got its name. By understanding these Latin roots, we can see that these abbreviations aren't arbitrary after all. They tell a story of scientific discovery, of linguistic evolution, and of our shared human history. So next time you're studying the periodic table, remember there's more to these elements than meets the eye. They're not just symbols, they're keys to a deeper understanding of the world around us. Once you realize there's a reason behind these abbreviations, they become much easier to remember. So embrace the Latin, embrace the history, and see how much more enjoyable learning chemistry can become. Like with any new skill, the key to mastering the chemical elements and their abbreviations is practice. You've probably heard the phrase, practice makes perfect, more times than you can count, right? Well, it's a popular saying for good reason. It's especially true when it comes to learning the intricate world of chemical elements and their abbreviations. Let's think about it this way. Imagine your brain as a garden. Each new piece of information you learn is a seed. The more often you water these seeds through practice, the stronger and healthier they grow, taking root in your long-term memory. And this is how you want the names and abbreviations of the chemical elements to be: deeply rooted, ready to be plucked out whenever you need them. Now, don't fret if the idea of practice sounds monotonous. It doesn't have to be. In fact, there are countless ways to make practicing fun. A host of online quizzes and games are available at your fingertips, designed specifically to help you master the periodic table. They transform the task of learning from a chore into a game, something you can look forward to. Picture a game that includes flashcards, where each card presents a chemical element, and your job is to guess the abbreviation, or vice versa. Or a game that challenges you to put the elements in order based on their atomic number. The possibilities are endless, and the best part is, these games can be enjoyed alone or with friends. And remember, there's no such thing as too much practice. The more you engage with these elements, the more familiar they become. Eventually, you'll reach a point where you see an abbreviation and instantly know the corresponding element. That's the beauty of practice. So get out there and start practicing. Turn learning into a fun challenge. Dive into the world of chemical elements and their abbreviations with a renewed spirit of curiosity and adventure. Practicing regularly not only helps you remember the elements, but also makes learning them a fun challenge. Remember, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.